a democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
Welcome into the Sportsocracy. What a day it is. I know we're late. Shut up. It's my birthday. Don't give me shit.
It's his birthday, and somehow I was the first person to tell him happy birthday.
Oh, don't call out my wife like that on
She doesn't watch our show. It's okay.
That's very true. They won't allow it where she works, and, she probably wouldn't watch if she could anyway. Technical difficulties this morning, the computer's being a bastard, and, yeah. So
I've never met... First of all, how old are you?
I'm 38 years old.
Today?
Yes.
Okay.
I've had 45 minutes ago.
I've had you 2 years older than that for 4 years. So I thought you turned 40, and I didn't do anything to mess with you, and I was super sad about it.
No, look, I'm an old soul.
Obviously, because you were that's where I was headed. You're the most technologically non-inclined human I've ever met in my life.
It's just technology hates me. I don't know if I have some kind of electromagnetic field around me where everything just has to go haywire when I touch it. I mean, just 5 seconds ago, you were saying, I have never seen a computer do that to someone else before.
I've never seen that computer do that because we have mirror image computers and mine's never done it.
So anyway, what a day it is. Welcome into the Sportsocracy. Follow us at the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. And I got a text this morning from Devin. Those Roy Cooper made me wear this masks really look good. You can check those out in the merch store. You can find the link in the description of this video and on all of our social medias. Now, let's get into it because another broadcaster has found himself in the worst of positions. And it's one of those things that, look, I've been in the business for 20 years. And it's the first thing that they tell you when you go into broadcast school or go to work for an actual radio station or TV station or whoever. You always have to assume that the mics are on. And especially when you are 5 seconds coming back from a break, you don't choose that time to say one of the most
Well, you just don't say it,
ever
period.
said.
It's a real this is a real easy fix.
Well,
just don't do that shit.
I get it, but part of me says people are people, and people have evil in their hearts, and they don't keep it to themselves. And we've all known these people in our lives. People say awful things all the time when no one can hear them or when they think they're in earshot of someone who will understand or not say anything about what they're saying. What he said was horrible. Don't get me wrong. I'm not making excuses for Tom Brenneman. What I'm saying is, you don't choose that time to do that.
It was one of the most unbelievable comedy of errors I've ever seen.
Yes.
Because, first of all, that happened in the 7th inning of the first game.
Yep.
His apology was in the 5th inning of the second game.
Well,
How did nobody at any point go, Tom, you might want to sit this one out. Things are going poorly on social media. You might want to just hang out.
Yeah. I want to know how quickly they realized the mistake was made. Because it had
to be instantaneous.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't on the actual broadcast, on the TV broadcast of the game. It was only on the internet feed because the TV came back after he said it. But the web stream went early from their commercial break, and that's how he got bit.
They needed one precursory check of Twitter to know, because it was trending before that game was over.
Right.
So
yeah.
Then he decides to issue his apology in the 5th as he's getting ready to exit stage left. And then Nick Castellanos hits a home run in the middle of it.
Yep.
Which bounced off a sign that said "No Judgment Zone." You can't make that up.
And Tom Brenneman was in the middle of one of the hardest things that a broadcaster has to do, is to come on and admit that he did something super unprofessional, and he was very solemn. And I almost wish he would have broke from the apology just to give.
That would have been just totally major league.
Right, just give one last real good home run call. I apologize for my actions. I said something that should never be said. And there's a high fly ball down the left field line, and Castellanos has hit it. It's 4-0 Reds.
I just had to do it once.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ever going to be back on this airwaves again with the Reds, and so I wanted you to have one more parting shot.
You feel like Nick Castellanos goes back and watches that and goes, "Ooh, that was
Right.
that was poorly timed."
Right. That is definitely one of the home runs. So I've worked for a Major League Baseball team, and I worked for the Atlanta Braves for a season. And as their producer, one of your jobs is to go through and cut out all of the highlights and post it up so the national radio shows can all get to your calls. That's one of the highlight calls that you don't pull.
Yeah, it was bad.
It
was bad.
You let other people find that elsewhere. You don't pull that call and use that in your highlight reel.
Look, I've been doing radio now for 4.5 years with you. And I'm a stand-up. Like, that's how I came to be in all of this. So I've said some really bad things in my life. Not because of specific words I said, but because my mom hugged me a lot and Dad might not have. And that made me this. I made that up. But you just know, if there's a microphone around you, you have to be conscientious of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And what you're doing. And I don't see any way that he retains his job. Darren Ravel put out a poll earlier that 50% of people said they should suspend him and send him to LGBT sensitivity training.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know that that's going to happen. Do you?
Maybe.
You think
But
that's a possibility?
I think there's a very small possibility. I'm pretty sure he's done.
I would say he's done.
Yeah.
I would say he's done.
I mean, in the day and age we live in, the mob will not allow you to get away with something like this. You know, you can come out and say, oh, everybody makes mistakes, and he made a bad one, and hopefully he'll learn from it. But the chances of him getting the opportunity to learn from it, I don't feel real good about. I saw somebody, posting, well, I guess he's now going to be calling international games for local television. Might be it.
Very well could be.
Yeah. And a guy like Tom Brenneman, though, I mean, I get the love of the game is in you, but do you really want to go with that? Maybe it's just time to retire. Hopefully he's made enough money that he can be comfortable. Because I don't know that he's getting another shot.
Fox is going to need a new third host for their NFL coverage because he was the commentator. I don't know how all those roles work. There's play-by-play, color commentator, and analyst.
Yeah.
Who's the one that doesn't have any opinions? He just sets everything up.
That's the play-by-play guy.
That guy. Yeah, that's what he was.
Yeah.
Lets the former player give their opinions.
It is a shame. Oh, goodness. So I was having a conversation with a Reds fan earlier, and that was just a text message because I said to him, sorry about your broadcaster, and he said, which one? What did I miss?
Oh,
well,
no.
Jim, you're going to have a fun day.
You chose a bad game to not watch.
Exactly. So, rest in peace, Tom Brenneman. What do you do in that situation?
The same thing we're about to do. Move right along.
Move right along. That's right. So, last night in the NBA, the Dallas Mavericks put a thumping on the Los Angeles Clippers. And I don't know. Jeremy, star of the game for you. Because I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm thinking Boban.
Boban played like 12 minutes.
Yeah, but Boban looked so good. And they made him look so good on television as well.
Boban's per 36 are incredible. The problem is that he can't run for more than 180 consecutive seconds or he'll die.
Right.
No, my star of the game is the same it's going to be in every Dallas Mavericks game for the next 15 years. Luka
Doncic.
I posted a picture on our social media of Luka giving daps to the referees, and I said, look, he's showing love to the only people that can stop him in this series.
Right. He looked really good. He looked really good last night. Kristaps Porzingis as well. It was everything that I thought the first game should have been.
Here's the thing. I told you after game 1, the Mavericks should have won, and I think they're the better team. After game 2, nothing has changed. We played 8 quarters of basketball. The Mavericks have pretty well handled them for 6 of them. And fared reasonably well for a 7th with no Kristaps. They're better. I flat out believe they're better. We're intoxicated by how good Kawhi is, and look what he did with the Raptors last year, and on and on and on. Here's what he doesn't have in Toronto that he had, or in LA that he had in Toronto. He doesn't have a Kyle Lowry, and he doesn't have a Marc Gasol.
Yep.
He's got his wingman. He's got his Siakam in Paul George, who was atrocious last night. But they have the same problem the Lakers do. And Paul George is not as good a player as Anthony Davis. Point blank, pure and simple. And he's always disappeared in the playoffs. This is not new information. It's been the book on Paul George since he came into the league.
Yeah.
He gets to the playoffs and disappears.
Man, I don't know. It's one of those things. I had such high hopes for the Clippers. I thought for sure that a team that looked this good on paper would be able to handle Dallas, but they just cannot.
Everything you need to know. Seth Curry is plus 43 in 2 games, which tells you what? The second team's terrible because Seth Curry's not that good. And he comes in and just orchestrates the offense, and he's a shooter, and he can score. Their second unit is atrocious, and they've never played together.
Right.
That's the problem. There's no cohesion in this team. So the what we saw of the Lakers, I've seen the Lakers look so good that I don't think there's a team in the league that can beat them. I've never seen the Clippers do that. We have this hypothetical of how good they could be because they've got Kawhi and Paul George and all these different role players that are so good. I've never seen them do it together. I've seen them win a lot of games,
right,
but I've never looked at the Clippers and said, damn, that team's good. Everybody else, every other analyst I've heard has waxed poetic about how good the Clippers are and can be. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it not one time.
It's a great collection of talent, but for some reason it just doesn't come together like it should on a consistent basis. I mean, and on a consistent enough basis to be NBA champions. Everybody expecting that the LAs were going to end up in this thing, and now I'm not so sure. If you had to gauge, if I had to put a percentage on it, I might be
10.
35%?
10.
Really?
And I'm being generous.
That both of them end up in the Western Conference Finals?
I see a path and there's a path that neither one of them make it to the second round, let alone to each other. They got to get out of what they're currently doing before they have to worry about, 2 series from now.
Yeah. It's hard
They
to
both have categoric issues. And there's, again, I keep harping on this. There's nothing that happened last night that's not, there's nothing that I say, oh, that's not going to happen again. They didn't shoot 12% from 3. They shot 30. And I could absolutely see it happening again. I could see Paul George disappearing again. I could see, I don't know how they fix this problem. They have a very simple problem, is that they have one defender that can guard one guy. And last night they didn't have Pat Beverly, and I heard that 100 times last night. Did you not watch the first game?
Right.
Luka beat him like a kettle drum. And I understand he turned the ball over a lot. 11 turnovers is non-sustainable. And I said that after game 1. Luka's not turning the ball over 11 times again. And if he doesn't do that, they win. They would have won without Kristaps had he not done that.
I would agree. I would agree with that. Last night it was not good. 127-114 was the final score. Mavs even up the series at 1-1, but it's really an emotional 2-0, in my opinion.
This series could be, if you didn't watch the end of game 1 and you watched all of game 2, you would think this series is 2-0, because that's how badly they've beaten them. And people not watching the games are doing the scoreboard thing going, well, it was close. No, it wasn't. This game was never close. In the second half, I never doubted this for a second.
It was the entire game flow was just in the Dallas Mavericks' favor, and everything seemed to be falling. Everything went swimmingly for them. And I don't feel like they played up to their potential. So that tells me.
I think that Dallas could be better.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Dallas played up to what they're capable of, and they still ended up beating the Clippers by 13 points.
Here's the thing. Kristaps was good. He wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
He was efficient. He wasn't a superstar.
Yep.
Luka was a superstar. Here's another thing. Are you looking at the box score right now?
No.
How many minutes did Luka Doncic play last night?
35?
You're too high.
30.
You're too high.
Oh.
If it starts with 30, you're too high.
Really?
He played 28 freaking minutes.
28 minutes.
Because he was in foul trouble for the vast majority of the game.
Yep.
That's the other part of this that nobody's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Curry replaced him and looked every bit as good because they can't stop him. Now, the one caveat I will give you is that Pat Beverly, if he'd been in uniform last night, he could have done work on Seth Curry.
Mm-hmm.
He's worthless against Luka. It doesn't matter. They don't have anybody that can guard him except Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, they're reticent to do that. And the only thing I can figure out is they're afraid he'll get him in foul trouble. With Kawhi not on the floor, they're awful.
Yeah.
Now, his team is freaking terrible without Kawhi Leonard.
Well, now it becomes a best-of-5 series. So, that's how you have to look at it. If you're the Los Angeles Clippers, like, we got to go in, we got to win 3. And you're not in a good position, but maybe Patrick Beverly will come back and play a little bit better. You try not to let one game bother you, but when it's 2 games in a row, just like tonight, if the Lakers come out and lay an egg again tonight,
I still won't be worried.
really,
They could lose again tonight, and it's not going to worry me in the least.
I
don't think that's going to happen.
Possible.
I don't in any way think that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if it did, am I jumping off the boat? No. Now they go down 3-0, then all right. Now
now you're worried.
Now we're listening to violins on the Titanic and we're rearranging deck chairs. So,
right.
And but no, I've said this from the get-go. You can verify. I've said this across 2 shows for the last month. I've seen the good in the Lakers. The Clippers are like a hypothetical thing to me, and I don't deal well with that. I don't deal well with look how good they could be, because you've had a whole season to show me that and you haven't done it. What's the stat that I said on the Lakers? The Lakers have literally lost to one team all season long that didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Clippers lost to several. Why? Because missing one piece, the whole deck of cards falls apart.
Right.
And that's how I feel now.
And the load
right now they have 9 players that they can play legitimate minutes, and 7 of them don't match up well in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul George is one of those 7.
You think the load management is the reason for this, that they have it because they load manage so much and they don't play together?
It's a perfect storm.
Have more of a chemistry.
It's a perfect storm. About the time the season got put on hiatus is about the time you would have started seeing Kawhi and Paul George every night.
Yeah.
Because they would have been building the playoff rotation, figuring out who works. And you added a Marcus Morris to this team that changes the dynamic. Marcus Morris changes the dynamic of this team. Mm-hmm. He should play more. The problem is he's never played minutes with half the guys on this team.
Right.
And so they don't know. Marcus Morris is not he's a freelance player. He's a great defensive player. But he doesn't fit into an offense all that well because he's too small really to be a 4, and he doesn't shoot well enough to be a 3. And so you have to kind of build things for him. The thing about that is that you didn't have the opportunity to do it. And so this Clippers team, now next year, I think this Clippers team could be great. They have plenty of talent. They just it looks like a team that you drafted off the sideline at a YMCA. There's no substantive offense. A lot of the movement doesn't make any sense. And then defensively, there's just these huge lapses that don't make any sense. Boban destroyed them in 10, 12 minutes, however many minutes he played last night.
Oh, yeah.
He demolished them.
Yeah.
He almost threw up a double-double in 12 minutes. Why? Because you don't have a big that can do anything with him.
Right.
Montrezl Harrell's too little, and Vika Zubac is not physical enough.
Yep.
And so you have a very, very simple problem. Because now they have figured out, oh, wait, we have this 7'3" guy that starts that you don't have a solution for. You can't put Paul George on him because he fouls out. Hey, it's my cup. But there's nothing in it.
Poor job on the production crew. See, you're supposed to fill the cups, deliver them, and then we can do the merch.
Actually, I was supposed to do that.
Oh,
so, yeah, Clay does everything and more ever asked of him. Me, not so much.
Not so much. Yes, because baseball and because 2020, coffee mugs now available in the merch store. Check out the link for it in the description of this video. The Lakers tonight have to go up against the Portland Trailblazers, and last night I was thinking about this, and to me, is this the point where LeBron James says enough with team ball?
Yep.
I have got to put this team on my back. I have got to come out and score 30 to 40 points every night and stop dishing off 16 assists. I get that it's great. It's a great stat to have. Bron, you got your record, buddy. But to me, you don't have the horses. And when everybody else is not hitting your shots, you need to be hitting the shots. So to me, it's time for LeBron to go team gets mine, as you like to say.
Oh, LeBron James is going to be the card-carrying captain of Team Gets Mine tonight. 100%, no doubt.
Yeah.
If I've never explained what Team Gets Mine is, Russell Westbrook would be the starting point guard. James Harden would be the starting two guard. Basically, it is all the guys that look at their team and go, I'm better than all of you, so just sit back and watch me whip this team's ass. And that's going to be LeBron tonight.
Yeah.
LeBron's going to do – I said this about game one. I missed it by one. LeBron's – I have this term, screw you money. I've always wanted to be that guy that has screw you money, that just I can say whatever it is I want to. Mm-hmm. LeBron has screw you power on this team because as soon as the ball gets rolled out, they're all four going to look at him and go, LeBron, what you need us to do? I could see him scoring 40 tonight because I have no idea who's going to stop him. I heard, just since we're on this series, I heard somebody call Carmelo Anthony a 3-and-D player last night, and a little part of me died that somebody actually believes that.
Wow. That's one of the worst takes of the night.
Oh, he's played decent defense. But if you think he's a 3-and-D player, tune in about 9 o'clock tonight and just watch what LeBron does to it.
Ooh. That's terrible.
Yep.
That is a terrible, terrible take. No, I think LeBron definitely has to get into it's Showtime mode. I still need to prove that I'm the greatest player in the game, and it's time for me to get on their back because when I mentioned yesterday on the show when LeBron was talking about when AD's got an off night, we're going to have Kyle Kuzma come up and be the two guy, or when. And he needs to be the three. You have nothing after that, and if you can't get all three of you together to score enough, you're gonna have to stop dishing it to Alex Caruso. Stop dishing it so much. Show us you can still score, and that's the key to success.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing is that this whole team is completely relying on LeBron. Mm-hmm. And we've got 17 years of example here of when that happens, what does LeBron do? He goes, "Hey y'all, hop on these shoulders.
Yep.
We're going to go do some shit."
Yep. Playoff mode LeBron needs to show up tonight. They cannot afford to go down 2-0 to the Portland Trailblazers. And the way that Damian Lillard is playing because of that, I don't know if they can dig themselves out of an 0-2 hole up against this team. Now, there's another tied series in the playoffs now, and it comes at the expense of Jeremy's Denver Nuggets. The Utah Jazz yesterday set a playoff record for them with three-pointers. Mm-hmm. Hit 20 of them. Mm-hmm.
And it's non-sustainable. You think they're going to hit 20 again? Because I don't.
No.
You think Jamal Murray's going to be the worst player on the floor again? Because I don't. Happened yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good. That's literally all of the analysis I need to give on my 2019-2020 fighting NBA champion Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, not only did they lose, they lost handily by 19, 124 to 105. It was not a good day for the Denver Nuggets, and I guess my question is this a problem with their perimeter defense, or is this just a one-off?
It's a one-off. They're not that. I'll be honest with you, I watched a ton of this game. They dared them to shoot threes. Just so happened that it worked.
Yeah.
Because they figured out all we have to do Utah's not a great shooting team. And they figured out all we have to do is kind of bunch in, and Rudy Gobert's irrelevant. So on offense, you're playing 4-on-5, and they just let them shoot. Don't envision that's going to happen again.
Yeah.
The team you should be scared about is Philadelphia.
Oh, they're done.
They're bad.
They are done. They got killed 128-101 by the Boston Celtics last night, and I just kept watching and, thinking as good as Joel Embiid is, it's just wasted. It's just wasted motion with this group around
Because
him.
nobody initiates the offense.
Now, there are so many ways that Joel Embiid can hurt you, and the Boston Celtics are just deep and good, and they're having fun. That's one thing I noticed last night. Like, it just felt like they are in a mode. They've got a chemistry as a team together. Kemba's out there hitting shots, and Marcus Smart's not doing as great on the offensive side of the ball. He gave a great chuckle when he finally hit a three at the end of the game, or toward the end of the game. But he's out there, doing Marcus Smart things, just jumping on the floor, jumping after balls and chasing. I mean, it's phenomenal. And on the other side, you've got Philadelphia.
I genuinely think Brett Brown gets fired.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think Brett Brown gets fired, and they try to find a coach that can make this work. Who that coach is, I have absolutely no idea. I don't know that there is one. But I can tell you who it's not. And currently, I feel very sure that it's not Brett Brown.
Yeah.
But that series is over. Can I talk shit about Kevin Warren now?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, football.
Let's talk about Kevin Warren. So the Big Ten, obviously, dealing with all comers right now, from uprising students to parents with pitchforks standing outside the gates of the Big Ten complex there in Chicago. They are getting it from all sides. ADs and coaches are pissed off. The fan base is in an uproar. And yesterday they put out a statement, and Kevin Warren he's putting the blinders on, and he's going, Nope, made the right decision. We're good. We're hanging in here.
I don't really know how to say this other than how I'm getting ready to say it. I don't think I've ever seen somebody in power in any sport that's this level of dumb. I genuinely, he's the dumbest commissioner in the history of sports.
Just full on dumb.
Who's worse? I'll wait. It's going to be if there is a list, it's going to be a real short list. Because basically what you have done is you have said, we're not going to play, but I'm not going to tell you why. We have all of this research and all of this information that I'm not going to give you. I've taken all of the opinions of my teams, except we never polled them. This is all the information that we can use, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. And he's just gone in a circle.
Yep.
Lather, rinse, repeat.
Yep.
And it seems like the more people come out against him, the more he feels entitled to defend against it.
Yes.
And the report yesterday that Ohio State's looking to start its own home 6-team, Michigan, Penn State, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Nebraska. I got news for you. If Ohio State opines that, those 5 will follow.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn about the governor of Michigan. I don't give a damn about the president of Wisconsin. If Ohio State says, we're riding, they'll look like Big Bird. We ride it down, bitches. You mark my words.
Yep.
If that's true, and it's Kevin Warren against Ohio State, I can tell you where the vast majority of people are going to go.
Absolutely.
Because Ohio State's the one entity in that conference that makes money. And it is mind-boggling to me how quickly every person that's ever sided with Kevin Warren is jumping to get away from him.
Yes.
Hell, Larry Scott just gave control of football away. He said, I screwed this up once. I went with that dumb bastard over there, and I'm not doing that again. Merton Hanks used to play in the NFL. You make these decisions. I don't want to.
Yep, he has handed that job over. He's like vice president of football operations or something like that. It's a different title. But for the Pac-12, we'll talk about that more in just a second. But back to Kevin Warren, because we love bashing him so much. I'm
going to come up with some kind of a campaign against Kevin Warren. I haven't figured out what it is, but it's going to happen today.
Because Big Ten, we already have the merchandise.
Yeah, I want one that has Kevin Warren's name in it.
Oh, okay.
I want to be an asshole because I'm real good at that, and I want to.
With the statement yesterday, yes, it was the same pap that we just keeps being pushed. These very vague, very nebulous statements about, the infection rates are increasing, and we don't feel like, in-person contact football will be a good environment for, containing the spread of the coronavirus, despite the fact that all of, a bunch of these schools, namely, I think it was Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, saying that his program's been working. They haven't had any positive tests in like 3 weeks or something like that. I've heard the same out of several schools around college football. Despite evidence that it can be done, and it is being done successfully, Kevin Warren continues to push down this path. All the meanwhile, still allowing his son to play in the SEC.
That's that for me is almost just like the icing on the cake. Mm-hmm. Like that's, as a matter of fact, it's not even the icing. It's like the sprinkles. That's such a small part of this, but it really just confirms everything.
Right. And he apparently addressed it at some point. We're like, well, we've had some very tough conversations in our family about this. Yeah, I'm sure you did. When your son looks at you and says, Dad, they're playing football, I'm going to go play football. And you went, okay, it's your choice. You're a grown man. That's exactly the point here, Kevin.
Anytime you say football twice in the same sentence, it makes me want to go Lou Holtz so bad I can't stand it.
You can play safe. We're going to play, and we're going to play safe.
It just, to me, this has gotten to a comical point. Like, I don't have another way to say it. This has become comical. Mm-hmm. Of you don't have a leg to stand on. You don't have one. The NBA has literally shown, it has shown the way. And you could do that. But it's the one part of that is that you have to admit that student athlete is a massive farce. Mm-hmm. And people like us have been saying that for 3 decades, 4 decades.
Yep.
That's the only thing you have to do. This whole problem could go away. You just have to admit that student athlete is an oxymoron. And they won't do it.
No.
And Kevin Warren's going to lose his job falling on his shield to defend that.
The one part of the statement yesterday that I took away, there's simply too much that we don't know about the virus, recovery from infection, and longer-term effects. While the data on cardiomyopathy is preliminary and incomplete, the uncertain risk was unacceptable at this time. Okay. I mean, to you as the commissioner and you as the lawyer concerned about getting your ass sued off if somebody ends up getting sick and getting put on a ventilator, I mean, we haven't seen that happen yet in college football, but maybe the chances, there is a chance, and it's just not one that you're willing to take. But it's not just you. I mean, I get that you are the head of the organization and you feel like you need to make decisions that are best for everybody else, but you're not the only one affected by these decisions, and you need to include other people in it. And, we talked to all of the presidents, and the presidents were overwhelmingly in favor of canceling the season. Okay, what was your vote?
So what you're telling me is that you don't like a figurehead at the head of a lot of people that unilaterally makes decisions and doesn't tell you why.
Yes.
Welcome to the Republican Party. Glad to have you.
No,
That screwed his Democratic ass up so bad. And he doesn't know where to go.
There's only so many times you can call me a Democrat before.
Stop voting that way and I'll stop calling you one.
Oh, goodness. All right. So, Kevin Warren. We were talking about him. We're not talking about me.
Yeah.
No, you have to include other people in these decisions. You have to include all of the parents. You have to include all of the players. Not all of them, but you at least need to be hearing some voices from these people. And even in the statement from the Big Ten, they come out and say, oh, well, now we're going to have a football relaunch task force, and these are all the people that's going to be involved. Did you notice anybody who's not included in that list? It's the parents and the players.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit.
Here's the thing. Have you noticed that through the whole discussion of the NFL, Roger Goodell has never veered off the path of we're going to play?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why? This is a really simple explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's beholden to the 32 owners and their money. So is Kevin Warren. It's Kevin Warren's responsibility as the commissioner of the Big Ten to make sure his institutions stay financially solvent. What is the number one thing you can say definitively he has not done? Whether you agree with the decision to play or not. What has he not done?
Protected the product.
Protected the product to the best of his abilities. Mm-hmm. Which is why I'm telling you, no matter what he does, there is nothing he could do. He could cure cancer at this point, and he would still be fired at the end of the year in the Big Ten because it doesn't matter.
You know, I keep trying to look at this in a non-political way.
There's no way to look at it in a non-political way.
Exactly. It just keeps oozing out of all of the decisions that keep getting made is that this is all politics. This is all posturing. This is all Kevin Warren, to me, wanting to be something that he's not, and he wants to vault this into something else. Like this is a springboard job or something. I don't understand how you can honestly make this decision without having a clear path. I mean, this is exactly what was, what people were talking about. You cannot have a decision like this be made and there be any ambiguity. James Franklin from Penn State said that yesterday. You cannot have any ambiguity in any of this.
No.
When you make a decision that is going to impact every school, what was it? Wisconsin said $100 million was what they were going to lose. Mm-hmm. You cannot have anyone have any question as to what we are doing here. I'm not saying you need to follow Robert's rules of order or what. I don't care how your process is done, but you cannot do this with a shred of doubt.
No. I mean, here's the thing. To what you said about I'm trying to make this a non-political thing, we've hit the crossroads of politics and sports, and there's no going back.
Yeah.
And look, I don't love it. And if I had $1 for every person that looked at me and said, they're kneeling for the anthem, I'm never watching this again, or this has all become about politics. Okay, I promise you, you're not going to crush the enterprise. No. I promise you. But we have to understand, we've hit a point where politics and sports are one and the same. Mm-hmm. And I hate it. I've hated it for years. We spent 4 years trying to avoid this. In shows that we did and our production and trying to stay away from the politics of sports. Mm-hmm. We're at a point that we can't help it. The money's gotten too big, and we've put too many people at a position where they have to make a call that should have been made a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And the Big Ten is going to be, they're going to be the sacrificial lamb. I hate to say it, but they are.
And they address the...
Kevin Warren is going to be... I didn't mean to cut you off. Kevin Warren is going to be the person that we look back on 10 years from now when college football looks nothing like it does today, and we're going to go, that's the guy that made this happen.
Yeah.
Not in a positive way.
They address the whole, we put out a schedule 6 days before we made the decision and, explained it away as, well, we said we were going to go into this one day at a time and that we were going to go in two divergent paths, that we would always be keeping safety in mind, but we would all be pressing forward until we got to the point where we realized it could not happen. Okay. I mean, I guess if you look at it in the truest sense of the words, yeah, that's what you were doing, and that's how it looked. But to us on the outside, that's what I'm saying. To the average person, it looks like you got pressure from above, and you're not willing to say who it was, or you did this unilaterally, and you're just trying to make yourself look bigger than you are.
So where's the pressure from above?
I have no idea.
I want to go down this path.
I don't know. Maybe somebody in the NCAA.
So they pressured him and nobody else. They didn't pressure Greg Sankey, John Swofford, or
maybe
one of these days I'm going to remember the Big 12's commissioner's name.
Bob Bowlesby.
There it is. Son of a bitch. Put that on a card and put it right there, because I can't remember his name for anything. So you're telling me they pressured Kevin Warren and Larry Scott and nobody else? Okay. Got a bridge to sell you. It's oceanfront. It's in Nebraska.
I didn't say that's what happened. I said that's only two possible scenarios.
No, the possible scenario is that the presidents and the academics of these colleges pressured him. Here's my problem with that. Not one of them has supported him. Not one. Mm-hmm. And you know what that tells me? They used him as a sacrificial lamb because he thinks he's bigger and badder than he is. And they said, we're going to put this out there, but you're going to be the one that says it. Mm-hmm. And now he's been crushed for it. Mm-hmm. And the presidents are going to skirt by, because I don't doubt that some of the presidents said, oh, we have issues.
Oh, absolutely.
The president of Michigan is a infectious disease doctor. So I'm not going to say that he didn't get pressure. Mm-hmm. The problem is that you went out on that ledge. You stepped out on that ledge fully believing that the ones that you had talked to were going to support you, and they let you go right off the cliff.
Now I want to take this whole Big Ten thing. I want to switch the focus on it, because so Ohio State wants to get together, according to reports. They want to get together this little coalition of 6 teams that will play each other in a 10-game season. Who shows those games? Because there's got to be money from it somewhere.
ESPN.
You think they will kill their relationship with the Big Ten to do that?
The relationship with the Big Ten is there for what reason?
To show their football.
I got news for you. If Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan are in on this, the rest of them can go fly a fucking kite, and ESPN doesn't care. I guarantee you they'll take the side of the 3 I just said over Minnesota and Michigan State. I'll promise you that. Mm-hmm. See, this is coming to the head that this is going to come to is something that I've said time and time and time and time again. You're completely entitled under the First Amendment to have your opinion. However, when you say things, you are not protected from there being consequences. Mm-hmm. And so Kevin Warren goes out on this limb and says, we're not going to play. Okay. We've heard your opinion. And you as the head of the Big Ten are completely entitled to believe that. Unfortunately, you're not the dictator of the Big Ten. So when Ohio State looks at their whole fan base pissed off, and the fact that they're never going to see Justin Fields play again, this was a potential national title year, and all the butt nuts are losing their mind, you know what they did? They went, we can go with Kevin Warren, who is at best on shaky ground as the commissioner. He's had probably the worst year in the history of commissioners in major college sports.
Absolutely.
Or we can go with our fan base that pays all the bills. And they went, yeah, we're going to do that. Mm-hmm. We're going to do that. And do I believe this is true? I absolutely do. I 100% believe it's true. And you want me to tell you how I think this conversation's going? I think Ohio State's got, Penn State, Iowa, and Nebraska are in. Now you got Wisconsin and Michigan on the fence.
Yep.
I would bet you that Ohio State's looking at both those schools going, you want to be with us or against us? Look what happened in Nebraska when they pissed off Oklahoma and Texas. Mm-hmm. They're now the 7th best program in a different conference.
Right.
What do you think will happen to you? Mm-hmm. It's exactly what I would say. Wisconsin, what are you without us? You take Penn State and us away from you, what are you? Oh, that game with Michigan that you get every year? Cool. Let's see how that sells for you. Mm-hmm. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to cave. I am more confident.
The Big Ten will cave?
The Big Ten, I don't know what the fuck they'll do at this point. At this point, I feel like Kevin Warren's just throwing darts at a board going, hey, let's do that today. What he's going to do, I have no idea.
Right.
What I will tell you is if Ohio State throws their weight around and they want to play this fall, they'll play this fall.
Yeah.
I'll promise you that.
It just comes into, the contractual obligations and stuff with the TV money and
you
how
voided
it gets
all
split
of that.
With all
as
of
soon
the
as
schools.
Kevin Warren made a unilateral decision, he voided all of that. If they want out, they can get out.
I don't know if the Big Ten and and ESPN will see it the same way.
I can tell you definitively ESPN will.
Yeah.
ESPN sees the Big Ten as 3 entities, and that's it.
They would be smart to show the game somehow. But do you risk losing that Big Ten contract?
You're not seeing the forest for the trees. If Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State are on this side, the other 6 don't matter.
They don't matter.
They're irrelevant. Who gives a damn what Northwestern wants? Hell, people that go to Northwestern don't go to those games.
Right.
They don't sell nationally. Ohio State does. Michigan does. Penn State does. And I hate to break this to anybody that doesn't understand it. This is how this game is played. If you make the money, you have the power. That's how this works.
But you also have to think about it from a business standpoint of, at some point, this all settles out. At some point, whether it be the ousting of Kevin Warren or whatever happens at the Big Ten Conference, the Big Ten cannot allow this to get any worse. So if they need to fire Kevin Stallings and put
Kevin Warren.
Excuse me.
God almighty, how many names are you going to call him? You've called him Kevin Scott, Kevin Stallings, Michael Scott, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. I mean, for the love of God. That same card that has Bob Bowlesby on it, put Kevin Warren on it for him.
Right. So like I said, you fire Kevin Seifert, and then now as soon as you make that happen, everything comes back to the level. Because you've got to maintain this as a group.
Disagree.
Why not?
There's nothing Kevin Warren can do that will reinstall faith from Gordon Gee and all of the people that make decisions in this conference. There's nothing he can do.
Right, but what I'm saying is, at some point, this rift has to be patched up.
So you're talking about with the Big Ten and its institution schools.
Right.
There's only one way to fix that.
Fire Kevin Stallings.
Fire Kevin Warren. That's
Warren.
it. There's no other way to remedy it.
Right.
Because now you've got a division in your conference. You've got a division of the conferences that make money solely because they're – Ohio State could play in the parking lot of the building we're in right now, and it would sell as many fans as we could put around it. Northwestern doesn't. This is the baseball argument all over again. You have a huge disparity between the bottom school and the top school. And what the bottom school has to understand is that the decisions are made at the top, not by you. We don't give a fuck what you want. It's just like Boston College and the ACC. We don't care what you want.
Right.
We care what North Carolina, Duke, Clemson, Florida State, and Miami want. That's it.
Okay.
Those are the schools that make money. That's who we care about. And so how far do I think Ohio State will go with this? I think they'll go as far as they have to. Patrick Holt just asked, any chance this leads to a new conference? I absolutely could see it. It's the rift is that bad.
It's already the Big Six.
I have sources in this conference that I trust a lot that have told me they will not confirm the Ohio State thing of how far they will go or legally what they're allowed to do. But they're pissed, and they're big pissed.
Oh yeah.
And there are people in very important positions in the Big Ten that are really angry. And
you
you know who else is really angry? Greg Sankey's really angry, and John Swofford's really angry. And do you not find it ironic that Lane Kiffin, who's one of the 3 or 4 most polarizing coaches in the country, and he's one of the most recognizable figures to the lay college sports fan, comes out and says, why are you not letting them transfer? That's just another problem heaped on the Big Ten of, well, how are you going to answer that? All right, you're not going to have football, and they are, which means your fear is what's pushing this, not the medical, not anything else, because they figured it out. So how are you going to keep them from transferring when you're not offering the sport anymore?
Well,
do you not find it ironic that came out?
Well, we're offering the spring season.
Doesn't matter. Your side,
but that's going to be their argument.
That argument will get killed immediately.
We're still giving them the opportunity to play. Look, we've already come up with a plan. We want to start the season in January, so they're going to have the opportunity to play.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I asked that to somebody that knows the legalities of college sports way better than I do.
Right.
Here's the problem. You don't know that they're going to play in the spring because they don't have a plan. If you don't have a plan, they're not going to go out on a ledge and say, oh, we're offering it in the spring, because guess what happens if you don't offer it in the spring? They can sue you.
Right.
And you think about how many players are in the Big Ten. It's 1,200, roughly. Think about lawsuits coming from all 1,200 of them.
Yeah.
You think that's going to work? Nope. I'm telling you, the crux of this decision is coming quick, fast, and in a hurry. And the more Lane Kiffins and Nick Sabans that come out and say, what are you going to do with these players? Stop worrying about what the billion-dollar lawyer wants. We don't care. Start worrying about the players, because that's what matters.
Right. We're up against the
I just heard music from some random place.
That came from somewhere. Pac-12. Commissioner Larry Scott has now given over football operations to former NFL player Merton Hanks. And it's not surprising that with all of the tumultuous nature around what has happened with the Pac-12 canceling out the football season, that he is now distancing himself and now turning over operations to someone else.
And guess what? Kevin Warren's getting ready to do the same thing. And here's why. Because Merton Hanks would have never canceled the season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know him at all, except I do know what he did when he worked in the NFL. And from a business perspective, you would never have canceled the season. Never.
Right.
Especially not when your solution is unsustainable. There's no way to make this work in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
I have offered to have this debate with any person that wants to, and no one has taken me up on it. Across every social media and 2 shows. Somebody, please tell me, if you've got this grandiose idea of how this is going to work, please bring it to me. Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin, Ed Orgeron, Jimbo Fisher, they're all on my side. Ryan Day, they're all on my side.
Right.
If you've got something that you think you've got, please, God, explain it to me. And now I think they're all figuring out that your fear is going to push you into that litigation that you were scared of.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've scared yourself out of any form of money. You're going to run into Title IX issues. You're going to run into player eligibility issues, and you're not prepared for this. And so Larry Scott went, I boo-booed.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. Let me give this to somebody that the fan base can trust.
Yep. Merton Hanks is taking the job with the Pac-12. He's going to start early next month, so in like 2 weeks, he's going to start his new job as the Senior Associate Commissioner for Football Operations. It's a new title I have never heard of. They completely made up this whole new, it's basically a football czar. That is what they have created in the Pac-12 now, a guy who's going to be in charge of all of the scheduling and the officiating and making all of the big decisions. And I think it's probably the best thing that Larry Scott could have done. So now it appears that Tweedledee and Tweedledum, one of them just looks dumber than the other one.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Merton Hanks just got a promotion that, for lack of a better word, he got promoted to the head of the table,
yeah,
and the table's on fire.
Yep.
And I don't know what you do with that. I don't know how he salvages this, but I will tell you definitively, I feel a hell of a lot better about Merton Hanks' ability to do it than I did about Larry Scott's.
Mm-hmm.
And if Kevin Warren's smart, he'll do the same thing. Self-sustaining. Give yourself an ability to get out of your mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this has been an absolute train wreck. And it's gone so much further off the rails than I could have ever imagined it would. I don't know where it stops. You know, Patrick Holt, by the way, I am confirming that. I think you wanted me to say that on screen. He sent me something in the comments earlier. I am confirming that. A gentleman's agreement. Huzzah. The one thing that I don't know is, where does it end? And I don't know. Yeah. Could Ohio State say, the hell with it? We're running this ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we're going to put Chris Spielman or somebody at that level in charge of it. We're going to put a football guy in charge. Would that surprise me? No. Not in the least.
They've got a lot of way to go in the Big Ten. We're going to see way more movement all over this thing. You have something for me?
You guys ready to wrap?
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a very special day here at the Sportsocracy. We all want to join together and sing really quick from the production crew to Mr. Tank Spencer, one of our hosts, because it is his birthday. Guys, all together, happy birthday to you.
Sing louder, Jeremy.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear liberal. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
The crew
that.
pitched in and got you
Oh, nice.
your very own
Yes.
Wear a Damn Mask so we can keep having some sports.
Yeah. I'm going to put this on.
Happy
See, it
birthday,
fits on
Tank.
his chin. It doesn't fit on me.
Right, yeah. Wear this so they can wear theirs. Absolutely.
Bingo.
I can't finish the show like this. Oh, and there went the glasses. See, that's what happens.
Just everything's all going to hell in a
Everything's all
handbasket.
going to hell. My computer still has not rebooted. It's
He's
now in
done, I want
mechanical
it to be known he's done this whole show with no computer whatsoever, and I can't figure out what the hell he did to this thing. I think you gave it I think you gave it coronavirus.
I might have.
I think I've spit on it so many times over the course of doing this that I gave your computer coronavirus because it is all to hell.
It is all to hell.
Not protect against that.
It's what?
Norton does not protect.
Norton, no.
Norton
no.
does not have an coronavirus protection.
God, I wish they did. Can we go back and figure out how to make that happen? Because we could have avoided all of this shit over the last 6 months. It has been quite the roller coaster. But today's going to be a good one. We've got a whole lot on the table today as we got more basketball. You got the Heat and the Pacers, Thunder, Rockets. I'm going to be looking forward to that game. I want to see how the Thunder can try to, mitigate what the Rockets have been throwing at them, or threw at them in the first game. If they can't figure out how to dig out of this hole, I don't know. And plus, now we get to see Giannis pissed off.
Thunder plus 2.5. A lot. Like a whole lot. Like a lot.
Pissed off Giannis and the Orlando Magic go at it as well this evening, and then the Lakers and the Trailblazers. Can LeBron put the team on his back? Stop passing the ball, Bron. That's all I got to say.
Hashtag team gets money.
Yeah. It's Tank's birthday. Damn it, I want 50 points for my birthday. We'll see if it happens. We'll see you right here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. Like it, share it, and follow it. Don't forget to send us out a comment, and why not? Send me some birthday gifts. I love gifts, and I'm shameless. We'll see you tomorrow morning.